This DYM podcast is brought to you by LeaderTrex. Go to serve, return ready to lead. On a LeaderTrex mission trip, you'll serve and get out of your comfort zone. And through the program, your students will learn how to lead. They'll bring back that leadership and confidence to your youth ministry, and it will make a difference the rest of the year. Learn more and sign up at leadertrex.org. And since we love DYM, listeners get 10% off resources by using the code DYM10 at leadertrex.org.
Three, two, one.
Hey!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to
Katie didn't do it. Katie didn't do it.
I watched her. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hear it either.
Suspicious.
On the show, I said
Yes,
it in my
and
name.
speaking of show, this is the Download Youth Ministry podcast.
Hello.
This is episode 323.
Yes,
Doug
it is.
Fields here, sitting next to
That's so
Senior
nice.
Pastor Jason Carson,
Hello,
who
Doug.
is by the Queen, Katie Edwards,
Hi,
of
friends.
Junior High Ministry Extraordinaire,
Great to be with
and
you.
the People's Man,
And Josh is also here.
Josh.
What do we got on tap for today,
Griffin.
Doug?
Author,
Did you say, what do we
speaker,
have on tap?
MC,
What do we have on tap?
co-founder of Download Youth Ministry,
That's right.
and LaCroix spokesmodel.
LaCroix. So I'm drinking natural passion fruit today. It's delicious.
The crotch.
and the only one who looks at the camera. I kind of forget we have a camera, but then I notice Josh is always.
Well, we're having lunch with some friends
No, I know,
right
I know.
now.
Yeah.
We're hanging out in there. Like,
You're
how you
really
doing?
good at that.
Oh, I play to
So-
the camera. Just me and Joel Osteen. That's what we do. From what I hear, I would never watch that, obviously. You know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay, every Sunday
That's where
morning.
you get your messages from.
And then I put them on DYM. It's perfect. Yeah.
You both have a smiley demeanor.
Hey,
so-
don't you think? Yeah.
totally.
I just want to help people find their best life today. No, just today.
Actually, we should make that a contest with some of our like Jeff Self and some of our clever, creative listeners. Like, how is Josh Griffin like Joel Osteen?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't know, whether a game, whether it's a bunch of series of tweets.
This is a question and answer show about youth ministry. We take questions from our viewers and listeners.
Hey, but first of all, let's thank our sponsors. We have our primary sponsor, Orange, and the crowd says, Orange. Orange has highschoolcamp.com. They have the orangeconference.com. They're joining us and Fuller Youth Institute for the Youth Ministry Leadership Exchange.
YMLX, be there.
Which is February in Atlanta.
Not far away at all.
They are very, very fun. Josh and I were actually on the phone with Reggie Joyner.
We are. He's
earlier today.
He's a good dude.
I love him.
I'm a fan.
Fantastic.
He's great.
We're also sponsored by Tostitos. Tostitos party chips. The scoops that just scoop up a little bit of salsa in every bite. That's Tostitos.
Tostitos.com.
Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, dude, if we could get Tostitos.
It would be fun.
Did you know in their logo there's
Instead,
two
we
people?
we have to settle for Leader Tracks and YM360.
YM360, Leader Track. But look
Leader
in the,
Tracks, here's
wait.
the deal.
In the Tostitos logo, there's two people enjoying chips and salsa. Have you ever noticed that before?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
In the logo?
In the logo, look at the
see the two T's?
T-O-T.
Oh.
It's a party in the logo.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not
next level.
T-O-T.
You guys should think about that. for the
T-O-S-T,
DYM
whatever.
logo.
Yeah,
Put a party in the logo.
Leader Tracks, who probably paid for that bag of Tostitos.
Thank you,
so
Leader Tracks.
be
We love you.
quiet.
Thank you.
They have a spring break trip. Your summer trip experience are often the most important weeks in your ministry calendar. Every year, students build lifelong relationships with others, experience real change, and dive deeper into the adventure that God has for their lives. Both everything that's packed into your summer calendar, it's hard to imagine fitting another trip in. That's why they're doing a spring break trip.
That's right. That's when Doug got married, to get out of spring break trips.
March 23rd, 1985. Plus, Leader Tracks is also doing our student leadership conference with us. And we would love to have you join us at our student leadership conference. Josh and I are going to be there. Did you know Heather Fleece is coming, Katie?
To student leadership?
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
Yeah.
she is incredible.
Everyone
we just got
should
to hang out
come
with her.
because she's the best.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's
I
fun.
know.
And that is in Granger, Indiana, which is
right?
about an hour south of Chicago.
That's
South
right.
of Chicago, Josh?
If you live anywhere in the Midwest, I think
You
it's
can
west,
drive,
east
yeah.
of Chicago.
Oh,
East
well,
of Chicago.
it's
Whatever,
an
it's
hour
around
drive.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the Midwest.
Yeah.
In the Midwest.
They're all the same. Ohio, Illinois.
It's
Yeah.
July 9th
Michigan,
through 11th, and it's
Nebraska.
the most inexpensive conference in the country.
Yeah, I mean, Tostitos makes party-sized bags of chips, but SLC is going to be a party this year.
That's called Student Leadership Conference.
That was
Hey.
like the dumbest thing I've ever said.
I want this to be the Tostitos show. Keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I'm drinking water for my body, but that student leadership conference will be water for your soul.
Wow. That was a little better.
I think it was worse. I thought.
This is a question
Got a
from
point.
Scott Stentz. What's the most effective system of follow-up you've implemented?
Postcards. Everybody loves postcards. Send them a postcard. Nobody gets mail. It's fun.
It's true.
I'm serious. I think postcards are awesome.
Okay, so you send a postcard to follow up
Yeah.
for kids who are missing.
Yeah, like, hey, we missed you this week at small group. Here's a fun postcard. Yeah.
Good one.
Love Josh.
Love Josh.
Love Josh.
And they won't miss next
Nice.
week, I guarantee
You sign them all.
No, I mean, honestly, my kids, I have several teenagers in my house, and we get postcards occasionally, and they are a big deal. Like, whoa, you got mail, what? They're a big deal. Yeah.
They are a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love getting something in
No,
the
they're
mail.
fun.
Yeah.
I like getting checks in the mail.
It's always a nice surprise.
It is a nice
It's
surprise.
lovely.
Or
Yeah.
Tostitos in the mail. No, I'll
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
But Amazon Prime, you could get Tostitos in the mail.
In an hour.
You've just moved into senior pastor humor.
Oh, it's that bad?
Ow.
Oh, I'll go put on a tie now. No, follow-up's tricky. Follow-up, I feel like, is something that I would continue to tweak and change and try to improve, and I never felt like I ever mastered follow-up.
I think the follow-up has to be defined. So why are you doing follow-up, and for, what's the purpose of it? Are you just taking attendance and you just want to do attendance and follow up on kids missing attendance? Or you want to follow up on prayer requests, or, really just kind of understanding how you want to do follow-up. If you just want somebody checking in with kids, I think having other leaders on your team, having small group leaders doing weekly check-ins and that kind of follow-up, I think that's one of the most effective ways, is relational follow-up of checking in. But, again, I think you just have to kind of define why you want to do follow-up, because I think sometimes we think we're failing all the time at it, but we might just be failing at, I'm not getting great attendance, or I'm not following up on this little piece. But if people are checking in with kids and relational with kids each week, then that's great follow-up too. So just really kind of defining what kind of follow-up do you want to do.
I think in light of assimilation, like I remember that was the hardest thing that we just never got a grasp on. Like, we always had a big plan. We would whiteboard about it all the time. What's the best way to follow up with kids that just came to the youth group, and how to, so we had a plan that what if we sent them a letter, a little packet, the calendar, some info to their parents. One of the small group leaders could call them. We could make sure we make their birthday special all year long, just to kind of check in on them. And obviously you text them, you can do it all kinds of varied ways. But boy, if you get, I think that the couple times that it was rolling good with us was when somebody really owned it. Somebody said, "Yeah, I want to make sure I do sit down and write down all the birthday postcards." And so we had a kid in the youth group that just took that as their ministry. I'm going to write birthday cards. They wrote a less than a paragraph message wishing them a happy birthday from the Everyday Youth Group, and you're a great great friend. We love having you here, making it special. Then another person took it on them to do the newcomers. So anytime a new kid came, so that kind of I think the postcard is just money. Anytime kids get something in the mail, it's great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good. I like as you were saying birthday, my mind went to, I get a birthday card every year from Zondervan Publishing Company and Harvest House.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice.
No, it's a waste of I always think, why are you sending this to me?
Corporate, static.
It's like got 18 signatures on it of people I don't know or have never met. And
So it's not personal.
No. It's you can just tell those guys are pissed off, sitting at their desk, writing author. They're just signing their name to
400
birthday
cards, yeah.
Yeah, and so to me, something has to be higher touch throughout the year. Like if they were really wanting to nurture a relationship, don't just send me a remote birthday card that has
automatic text that your system generates when I don't show up.
Yeah, I mean it's better than a text getting this card, but I'm like I don't hear from you all year round.
Yeah.
So to me, I think the follow-up is best in context of a small group.
Yeah.
So that small group leader. I mean, we teach all the time with small groups. You're their youth pastor. You're their shepherd. You're their caretaker. Whatever. You're their mentor. Whatever it is, that follow-up should best take place in the context of a small group. Now, if somebody's not in a small group, then it puts the pressure on, the youth pastor or whoever it is to create some follow-up. But some high touch, is it just to, I like what you said, Katie, what's the purpose? Is it just to say you were missed because we're taking attendance and that's how we know you're missed? But anything personal is more powerful.
And I guess there's a couple different audiences too. So there's a big difference between a kid who comes for the very first time and a kid who is in a small group and part of your congregation. So, maybe there are a couple of different types, and there's a first touch for a first timer, but then what is ongoing, the ongoing touch look like for kids who are a part of your group? So,
and I would say it has to be simple, because to sustain things all along over a long period of time, someone's going to drop the ball. If it's super complicated, if it's not quick, easy, done, and you're on to the next.
We've never been able to maintain anything.
Sustaining a long-term, complicated follow-up plan will not happen.
Yeah.
So keep it simple.
And I was going to say, to your point about if they miss, like just because we're, language is important. I know you're saying this too. I just think like if you write them a card to say, we careful with your language. We notice you haven't been here in 3 weeks. What it implies. Condescending, something like, but just to say, this place isn't the same without you. We love you.
Yeah.
And,
that's good. I actually still tease Matt McGill. I mean, now when he was an intern, he was doing follow-up, and he wrote an email or a letter, "Our records reflect." Oh. And so I can
warm and fuzzy right there.
That still has become a catchphrase with us over 20, our records reflect.
Our records reflect we haven't been to lunch in a while, so we need to rectify that.
That is hilarious.
And does it say to whom it may concern? Because that's the ultimate.
Dear
to the resident at 33.
Dear student of this ministry.
Okay, this is from anonymous, first-time caller, long-time listener.
Oh, wow.
What do you have for student ministers who are doing ministry out in the middle of nowhere and they might feel isolated? I'll hang up and listen.
Student ministers or like teenagers who are serving? Does it mean
student ministers who are doing ministry out in the middle of nowhere and might feel isolated?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things
what does I'll hang up and listen mean?
First-time caller, long-time listener. Have you not ever listened to a radio program?
You have to have listened to like Dr. Laura, Howard Stern.
Where people call and go, "Hi, first-time caller, long-time listener."
Yeah, but then why are they going to hang up? They left a voice.
They're keeping the metaphor going throughout the deal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Great to have you here.
Hey,
Yeah, this will be Jason's last show.
It was a good run.
It's been a pleasure being with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So isolated youth ministry, middle of a cornfield, Nebraska, wherever.
Don't you think that part of
What's it got to be Nebraska, Josh?
I thought Antarctica.
It's the same difference
I
from
thought
what
Des Moines, Iowa.
It's just south of Chicago. That's what I know.
Nebraska and Iowa, we love you.
Well, you start. Get us started.
Well, I was just thinking that's why we've been doing this for 10 years.
Exactly. You're sitting here with us.
I think part of the reason that there is a little bit of magic to the four of us sitting around talking youth ministry is because for many youth workers who listen to it, this is their staff meeting.
Yep.
And I love hearing that hey, I have a lunch and I listen to the show, or
you should say, I have an appointment. I'm sorry I can't meet with you today. And then you go hang out with us in the church basement with the bologna sandwich. That's as good as it gets.
But I think part of it is when you don't have that immediate community, if there's not a network of youth workers that meets on a regular basis, you have to find it and build it. And this is one of the ways you do it. We're not the only podcast in town. I think I get a weekly email from Justin Knowles about promoting his podcast.
the other student ministry podcasts.
Yeah, but it's really not part of our network. We have an unofficial official network.
You can watch
Gill's on.
5 Minutes with Franks. Now that's a great show.
Yeah, 15. But
Speaking of great shows, that's a
you haven't
great
listened
show.
to it yet, Josh.
Yeah.
So
12 Minutes with Frank, I think it's
I don't
called. Real
know.
catchy.
I'm newer to this than you guys, obviously, but like I can't tell you how much just even these last couple of years I've had youth workers come up to me, especially at the DYM 100, to just say like, "Gosh, I feel like I know you," or you know, I can't tell you how much you guys all mean to us. Like we do feel alone, and just sitting there hearing that, oh, you guys struggle too, like the support and the community that this provides, like. Praise God. I mean, that's why. I mean, I love you guys, but I love knowing that not only do I get to hang out with you doing this, but there's a ministry aspect that we can encourage people, and you know that everyone knows that we're screwing up too, and this is a journey.
I started out in youth ministry in a really old church in the middle of rural Michigan, and felt very, very alone. Didn't know what I was doing. Started really young, and I think the world has changed today to bring us some really cool things. One, I feel like there are more conferences and gatherings than ever. So be a part of those. But those can still be cold, callous, big. I get that. And I would say the real game changer, though, is the Facebook community. Like an example of that would be the DYM community, thousands of members. And some of the greatest discussion questions, the I've been there, the screenshots of a text that I got from a parent. It's a protected environment for just youth workers. And there is a little bit of venting and but there's also a shared experience. There is a I have been there. There's a you got this. There's a don't quit. It's a really, really vibrant, fun place for youth workers to hang out. And that didn't exist years and years ago, back when we all started in youth ministry. So it is a gift to youth workers today. And so I would say if you're all alone, and I joke about middle of nowhere, Nebraska or whatever, but that isn't necessarily true. You could feel really alone in the middle of a ton of people.
Totally.
And you need a great community. And I would point them to Facebook right away. Say, type in DYM community. You're going to be blown away by what's there.
Yeah, I'm really inspired by the people that are on that on a regular
awesome.
basis. The other day I was reading one about a guy who got let go.
Yeah.
And I don't chime in on many, just there's so many posts.
It's crazy active, yes.
But I went to chime in on this and I was the 90th post. So a guy had been let go and was describing, and I mean, you could just see people's hearts came to the table, people's past, their own wounds, their own, Yeah,
you can't feel alone there very long.
No, especially if you share pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would just say there's some stuff that is at your fingertips. So things like this are at your fingertips, and then there's some things that you do have to pursue. And community is something that evolves over time and that even changes over time. When I first started, a lot of people that I was in youth ministry network are not in youth ministry anymore. So it's something that, no matter however long you are in youth ministry, you constantly need to be pursuing it. And I would say I'm in the middle of a lot of people, but I feel super alone in my ministry at times. And I hit things that I've never hit before. And, it sometimes is getting outside of my immediate community that actually helps me the most. And so don't be intimidated to go to a youth pastor who is on a team or something like that. You don't only have to find other youth pastors who are like you. There are just, all of us are kind of in the same boat. It doesn't matter what our geography is. So just be willing to pursue people that, somebody who's at a large church down the road might be feeling as isolated and as lonely as you in some of the things that we're dealing with teenagers. So
it's good.
Be pursuing.
I like that.
It's good. I like it. Oh, wait, Josh just said that.
Well, as a co-host, it makes sense that we're just synced like that, Doug.
Yeah, no, totally. Couple of questions related to what's the best way to prevent burnout. This is from Larry Morrison, West Mobile Baptist, Mobile, Alabama, who was at our DYM 100. Said, I've been in student ministry for 22 years. What is some encouragement from your side in staying strong and fresh?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Finding community.
Finding community would be a great place to start.
So if
Jump
you're
on
isolated
Facebook.
in the
Kind of what we
middle of
just said, the
nowhere.
network piece.
Yeah, I just would say, always, of course, the cliche answer, but yeah, stay connected to the source, right? So if you, avoiding burnout, a couple of my old pastors kind of trained me and mentored me in this pretty strong, telling me always that if you are burnt out, there's a good chance you're not connected to the source. So like the idea of a lamp with a plug, it's not in the socket. You got to stay connected to the vine, like Jesus tells us in John 15. So find that time to nurture your relationship with Jesus. Make sure that's number one. And then make sure you have a personal life after that too, right? I mean, you got to stay connected to your wife, your husband. You got to stay connected to your kids. You got to stay connected to your neighbors. And so that's so important. Yeah.
And play a little bit, escape. I think there's something really healthy about that too. Look at your calendar. When was the last time you had a meaningful day off at the very least? When was the last time you had a really significant vacation? And maybe that didn't involve other family members, so you didn't go visit grandma's house because that is
a trip.
Yeah, not a trip, but a vacation.
Yeah.
There's a difference, and I think just looking at some of those really practical things. When was the last time you played? What can you do?
Or adventure. Yeah, when's the last time you had adventure?
Yeah, exactly.
I think too, maybe creating a little bit of a tool for yourself that I think evaluation is always great to really kind of sit down. I mean, I love rest and play, of course, being connected, but even just some really great questions to kind of help you process and kind of identify why you're feeling what you're feeling. Have a few trusted friends, or even just one that you invite into that process that can be gut level honest with you and that you can do the same. I think sometimes just really sitting down to evaluate who we are and where we're at. Are we using our strengths? Are we feeling valued? Some of those things, just evaluating kind of big picture, I think helps.
I agree.
Yeah. Having people in your life that can see signs of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Josh was a very good friend of me last week. We were at a couple weeks ago, we were at the Youth Specialties Conference in Memphis, and I had been on the road a week before. So I went out to speaking engagement Saturday, drove to another one on Sunday. Then Kathy met me. We had a couple days, but then we hit Wednesday night, hit Memphis, and it's just people. Like it's just on. You're answering questions. You're there, and I love it.
One workshop, the whole bit.
It's my world.
And,
I'm like, it's like the Super Bowl when you get to see everybody and the whole bit and having a great time. But every conversation drains you.
Sure.
Even as
out.
I think I'm a former extrovert. I'm more of a becoming introvert. Yeah.
50-50 maybe.
Yeah. I was just now anyway, but just so every conversation, as much as I love it, if you're praying for whatever, it's like I'm just taken from you. I'm just taken from you. And I didn't have to speak I spoke on Saturday and I was done at like 1:00, but my flight wasn't home till Sunday. And Josh says, I said something like, well, Fadi was there, and Fadi said, how are you doing? I said, Fadi, I just want to go home. I got tender. I wanted to cry. When you're with somebody safe, you just let down. And Josh goes, why don't you go home? You don't need to be here. I got this. We were supposed to speak at a thing for college students that night.
Seminary deal.
Yeah, and Josh goes, I can cover that.
Yeah, and I still had workshops to go.
Yeah, he had to be there.
The booth was going to be open, and it was when you see somebody in need, you take care of them.
Yeah, it's good.
Josh.
Yeah. So he owes me a favor now. Everybody wins.
I think too, not being afraid to ask for help too. If you are feeling some, the fringes of burnout. So if you're feeling that, go to someone and say, I'm feeling this. Can you help me process it or talk about it? Don't be afraid. Don't wait until things get bad to bring people in. If you're even at the beginning stages, just tell people like, I need to be reassured, or I just need you to sit with me, or let me just kind of tell you all this stuff. Because I think sometimes we wait to ask for help until things are really, really
too far
bad.
gone.
I had a Wednesday night youth group one time where I was so just done. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was irritable. I didn't want to be around people. I was like ready to snap at people, and just I was at the end of my rope, and I pulled aside two of my key leaders. There's this room off to the side, kind of a prayer room, and they laid hands on me and prayed for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they said, "You can go home. We'll cover the night." It was like, oh my gosh. And I took them up on it.
Because you would never release yourself from that night. You would never be like, I got to go home. I'm out of it. But you can't.
But I took them up on it.
Good for you.
And I moped.
Went home.
It was
thought some
honestly
terrible thoughts.
It was one of those days where you just like, I could quit this job right now.
Oh, yeah.
And you just feel like, I don't want to be here. And they just said that they'll cover for me. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's maybe where I got my addiction to like diet sodas. Is literally I just wanted to escape at times. So
Right.
even after youth group, before I'd go home, because I knew I was either coming home to kids or responsibilities or chores or whatever, I'd just go to, Taco Bell and just sit by myself, read the paper, like do something
Yeah.
non-youth groupy, and just detox it. Like, because you're walking into another, if you have a family with kids and stuff like that, you're walking into another battlefield. So it really is there's a lot of elements of preventing burnout, but calendaring, not allowing other people to make your agenda, your schedule for you. I mean, we make a lot of rookie mistakes, like, when do you want to meet? And then they tell you and you're like, oh, great. You said 6:30 in the morning. Now I'm, I don't want to meet at 6:30 in the morning, but I said whenever.
Or 6:30 at night.
When do you stop making rookie mistakes? Because I feel like I'm like 21 years in here, and I'm still making these rookie mistakes, right?
Good.
Oh my gosh.
When you become a senior pastor, you
Yeah, I
guys.
guess.
Then you're
All
That's when you
mistakes
have
are
to figure it
over.
out, right? But you bring up an interesting point. I think just how we as youth workers, sometimes we like guilt and shame ourselves into staying through the night, or, our pride, or, we have these things that we like hold so tightly to. And sometimes you need a couple people that are the trusted people that will help release you from shame and guilt and some of those things that we put on ourselves.
Well, it actually goes full cycle to what you said earlier about being connected to the source.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're connected to the source, you actually see things a little clearer.
Mm-hmm.
You're not living. I mean, your approval issues and insecurities are always looming.
Yes.
But there is a little more confidence when you're, you know who you are serving. At the Youth Specialties Convention a few weeks ago, in an elevator with a guy, and I'm going, "Hey, how's the conference going?" He goes, "Oh, it's good, but man, you come here, you just, I'm finding out like I'm a terrible, awful youth worker."
Oh no!
See ya. Gets off. But in a quick moment, like, no, you're not. Quit comparing yourself to all these people you hear and speak who are not doing what they're saying they're doing anyway, or are just telling you their best stories
Here's
ever.
the highlights of my
Or
life.
they've given that same talk 100 times, and so you're like, I don't have any. I never led Billy Graham to the Lord. Those types of moments.
Yeah. No, it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Leading Josh to the Lord was the closest thing.
Oh, yeah. It was a
Look
very
what he's doing now.
difficult conversion.
Look at your legacy.
And Matt McGill, formerly on the show, still not a Christian.
Our records reflect you're not a Christian.
Reflect. You may not be a person of faith.
Records reflect. Never heard that story. That is hilarious.
That's a good one. Our records reflect.
Hey, let's go short on this one, because this one's going to be a little bit of a niche question, so it won't reach all of our audience.
Okay.
But so we don't have to belabor this one a little bit. If your own child is in your youth ministry, how much should you ask them for feedback on events, sermons, activities, etc.?
In my experience, you don't have to ask. They're going to give it to you. Man, this sucked. Oh, okay.
That game was so long.
Dad, that didn't happen like that.
Yes. Abby said that to me before. She's like, you kind of added a couple things to that story. I'm like, yes, for dramatic effect.
Exactly. Never let the
It's
truth
called communicating, sweetheart.
away of a good story. Yeah,
You want me to keep your friends awake or not?
Totally.
I do think there's some value in some side conversations and stuff. I don't know. I don't typically involve teenagers in the full debrief of an event, but I do think there's great anecdotal evidence. They're voting with their feet. They're voting with if they're bringing their friends to it. So there's a lot of things that you can debrief just by who's there. I don't know. I think you're going to get feedback.
I want it.
No, I want it
But I want it
too,
for my
but-
kids on everything. Like,
Well, when you say my kids, are you talking Christian or are you talking youth group kids?
no, you're
Our
talking
own
your own
kids.
kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like our own kids.
But I see, for me, I was like, Cassie would go to volleyball practice. She'd come home, how was volleyball practice? Cody, how was football? Even now that they're grown. Hey, what'd you do at work today? I mean, as a dad, that's my style of dadding.
Yeah. So would you say that, like, hey, we just got back from roller skating night, and you'd ask them about events and activities?
Yeah. So like
Would
if
you
they,
debrief it with them?
yeah, hey, what'd you like about tonight? Who'd you talk to? What you didn't like? I'd find out.
Yeah.
Because and sometimes what you find out is you find out the misses.
Right.
So you like, yeah, well, we were never able to, there was no clear sign up. We didn't know how to, like, oh, really? I thought there was a clear sign up. And,
Right.
And then
right.
you find things out like that. But yeah, I'm not afraid of their feedback.
I only have one kid.
Because if it's a real negative, they go in restriction.
Exactly. You're grounded.
You just do that
Take away
once.
their phone. Yeah.
One
Exactly.
of my kids gives really great, honest feedback that I feel like I can learn from. And the other one is just like...
Happy talk.
Yeah, I was just like,
Everything's great.
it was awesome. Like everything. That was the best message I've ever heard. You know what I mean?
I don't want to
That's
crush your
Abby.
soul, Mom.
Yeah.
So I'm.
What's Abby? Everything is the best thing she's ever experienced in her life. And then Ella's like, meh. Yeah. She like my message tonight? Yeah, it's okay. I'm like, right. You were talking through the whole thing. I saw
Exactly.
you. I never say that. But
love
yeah,
it.
so Ella's a little bit more honest feedback. Like, it was okay.
That's
okay.
fair.
Cool,
That's
cool,
fair.
cool.
That's good.
I love it.
All right. For DYM, now we'll save that for the next show. What we're going to call the New Year's show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the last year. This is the last show of the year.
2017.
All right.
Yeah.
This is it.
Thanks.
So Star Wars will be coming out around now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
2017.
It's done. This is the last show of 2017.
I'm-
So long, farewell. What are we doing for the new show? Do we have a new format? Do we have a new Jason? Or is it still Jason?
He's out. He got fired in episode 323.
Do we have a new intro?
We
video?
actually have to have our kids listen to the show and evaluate Jason, our own show.
I love it.
No, I'm gonna shave.
Jason's
Oh,
gonna
you know
shave
that?
his beard for his costume.
No, I really am for my
He-
costume.
he has to
Star
for his
Wars
costume.
for the epic.
Really?
He's
I can't even
gonna.
remember
I'm
the
director
last
Orson Krennic from Rogue One.
I thought
And
you
I
were
will
gonna be.
No, it's all changed, my friend.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Are you sure
Okay.
you want to say that? Because maybe it'll change again.
No.
That's a fair question.
And,
It's totally
and Rogue One is what?
Oh, come on.
It's a show, right?
Oh
was a
my
movie.
goodness! What a way to end
It was a
2017.
movie. It was a good
That's
one.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Very sad ending.
Are you coming to? Oh, you're not coming to the
You know
Star
what?
Wars 8 premiere.
That hurts, Doug.
I told Kathy that. So here's the backstory, everyone.
Sometimes you just have to sit out of things.
That's right. There's the Star Wars premiere. There was one. How many years ago? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we all dressed up. Jason and his sister rented out the whole place. We all paid way too much for these tickets to support, so Jason could go for free.
Wow.
Yeah. Jason and his family not paying anything.
But everybody dressed up.
$20 swag bags,
No,
prizes,
it was-
raffles.
It was awesome. It was
Pre-show.
awesome. We all get in line, and people I haven't seen in 5 years, I'm talking to them while I'm standing in line, and now I'm worn out.
Yeah, he's going. I just want to go home.
give me a Darth Vader mask. So
See?
Yeah.
You could have done that.
And so I'm in costume. We're all in costume. We have a good experience. I watch Star Wars. I don't fully get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Laser cats.
things blow up. And people talking different languages.
You're welcome.
Right?
Wow, this is wonderful.
Okay.
Keep
It's
going.
literally Star Wars coming to life right now.
Keep going.
So
Do a Wookiee. Do a
I was
Wookiee.
thinking, wow, Fields. Okay.
no, see, you think every youth pastor in America knows Star Wars.
They love Star Wars.
Well, a lot of people love Star Wars.
Everybody. Everybody.
If you're a youth pastor.
I'm listening.
So
Keep going.
anyway,
I'm half
so it was a
listening.
great night. It was fabulous. So now it comes around this year, and it's just right in a really busy season. And
Christmas.
And we said yes, and then I said no. I don't know. We didn't get on the tickets quick enough. We're gonna sit in the front row. Blah blah. Jason said I'll take care of you, and I said to Kathy, she's like, I don't really want to. And I said, Jason's kind of hurt. She said, really? And I said, well, he says it's a big deal, and we're not supporting his big deal. And she said,
That's fair. No.
It's more important than my wedding, Doug.
listen, she said, ask him if we rented out the movies to see the Gilmore Girls, would he go?
I would come. I would dress up.
I would
An
be in costume as
invitation
well.
from Doug and Kathy Fields, I would be there.
But would you go the second time we did it?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I
case
would.
of-
Well, like
Yes, I would.
Twilight, Sex and the City. There's a lot of options here. It depends on the movie. Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, exactly. And Star Wars.
Right, those were all no's.
Star Wars is equivalent to Gilmore Girls to me.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
All right.
I've told Josh. Now, haven't I said this, Josh?
He said it. I don't know what he's going to say, but he
I've
said it.
said, you need to just take me through, like, we'll do a marathon.
That's
and
true.
Take me through.
And we can pause it every few minutes and explain to...
Yeah, like I saw it when
Yeah.
I was the first one. I was in junior high when it came out. All right.
How did you not get swept up in Star Wars mania? Junior high, that is like
Because
prime age.
Evil Knievel was out.
Oh, that's true. He's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
There was
and,
a lot
Canyon
of
jump.
awesome
and then I played
competitive things out there.
sports, and so a lot of
So those
And
those people didn't
Whatever.
really watch sci-fi.
Yeah, well, they're all CEOs now, so...
Yeah, totally. I
nerds rule the world.
I missed it. So,
All right, yeah.
so I
And
have
you're
to
gonna
say
miss
to
it this year,
Josh,
too.
I would like to understand it all, but I just when they come out every 4 years, you go, oh look, Chewbacca's back.
Stepped on a cat right there.
sound effects, laser cats.
I agree. We're done. This is it.
Heart and motivation, Star Wars.
What an end to 2017, guys. This is a best of show.
I'm just saying.
Add this to the best of list right
Just
here.
saying, should we title this show Doug and Star Wars?
Yes.
Absolutely. And then we'll do a mashup video. We'll ask our community to do mashup videos of you with real Star Wars footage, but your sound effects. It'd be amazing.
Hey, I'd watch it.
Yeah, wait, give us some more. Give us R2D2. He's the beep. Okay.
Lasers? Shoot the lasers.
I already did lasers.
Explosion.
That was a good one.
I mean,
Do Yoda.
me no understand this movie. All right.
My eyes are watering. Katie's crying.
Lost Elliot.
Producer Elliot's done.
Thank you, 2017.
Yeah.
That was a great
Star Wars.
See you next year, everybody.
Jeff Lucas will be real happy.
That was a good bit.
All right.
That's the one thing I do know. It's Randy Lucas.
Oh my God.
All right, everybody, we love you. Send your questions to podcast at Download Youth Ministry. That's podcast at Download Youth Ministry. And we'll send you a picture back of Jason dressed as Captain Nemo. No, I do-
Director Krennic from Rogue One.
Yeah,
which
kind
is
of like Captain Nemo.
Star Trek.
Basically.
Good job. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy New Year.
Cheers.